You can get the AirRise hoist in a few different versions. So there's the AirRise 200, which denominates the 200 kilogram weight limit. You can have that as a standard version or a detachable version. The detachable version you can push up and twist 90 degrees and take it off the track. You've then got an AirRise 275 with a 275 kilogram weight limit, AirRise 350, and then finally an AirRise 500 with a 500 kilogram max user weight. The AirRise 500 you can get as a single unit or you can get as a dual unit. All of the spreader bars are detachable on the hoist, and you can get a 2-point spreader bar, you can get a 4-point spreader bar, there's a weigh scale attachment, and you can also have the option on any of the hoists of having a electric power traversing spreader bar. You've also got the option finally on the hoists of having them as manual traverse, where they move manually left to right, or as an electric traverse option. So on the AirRise handset, you've got firstly an on and off button. If the hoist is left for 30 minutes with no use, it will automatically turn itself off. So you have to first select the on button before you can choose any of the functions. You've got an up and a down for adjusting the spreader bar in height. And if you've chosen the electric traverse spreader bar, you've got the option of the lying and the seated position buttons. However, those buttons, two buttons, are not used if it's the standard spreader bar in use. The AirRise hoist, you've got either the charge option of it charging through the back of the handset or the on-track charge. If the handset charge is chosen, you've got a docking station here with a transformer inside, and simply by putting the handset in position, the light will go on indicating that the hoist is now charging through the handset. The handset's held on magnetically, so if you were to pull the hoist away by accident, the handset will soon follow, causing no damage to the handset or to the docking station. Another feature to be aware of is once you've put the hoist on charge, you may still get a flashing light showing on the underneath of the hoist unit. To avoid that light flashing, you can press the off button on the handset and the hoist will continue to charge, but there'll be no light flashing. All the AirRise hoists as standard have a battery protection software which prevent the batteries ever draining to a certain point where they can't be recovered again. When the hoist is fully charged, you will get a green light. Should ever the hoist be left off charge for a long period of time and used and not recharged, you will eventually get an orange light and an audible beep every 10 minutes, which is asking you to put the hoist back on charge again. Should that be ignored, eventually the orange light will turn to a red light. You'll get a beep every 10 seconds and it will only allow you to lower the hoist until you've put it back on charge again. So the orange and the red are indicators to help put it back on charge so that you can recover the batteries rather than them draining, which would then need a call out or replacement. All of the AirRise hoists as standard have an emergency stop and emergency lowering. By pulling the cord once, it will turn off any controls on the handset, and by keeping hold of the cord, it's an emergency lowering. So you'd use that in an emergency should, for example, someone be hoisted up and the handset not working. It allows you to lower the hoist. Once you've let go of your emergency lowering, after a series of a couple of beeps, now all you need to do is simply press the on button to turn the hoist back on and use it as normal. The latest spreader bar attachment on the AirRise hoist is a detachable version, so you can clearly use it at any point, but if you want to detach the spreader bar either to add on a weigh scale attachment or use a different spreader bar attachment, you need to ensure that the slot is in line with the blue dot, and at that point you can push down and release the attachment. You can only release the attachment and put it back in again at that point. So if I was to try and do it here, you can't push the attachment down to disconnect it from the spreader bar. When applying a sling to the spreader bar, clearly you'll have it documented which hook you would use depending on the patient you're hoisting. If in this instance we're using the black hook, it's a case of simply putting that hook through onto the spreader bar, and you would then obviously attach your leg tapes as well as your shoulder tapes on both sides. We then always recommend, as a good practice, once you're starting to raise the spreader bar ready to lift your patient, you then double check that the hooks are still in the slot to avoid any potential injury.